What's up, y'all? What's up? We're back. I had to take a week off because unfortunately I had the flu. So we're going to be talking about NFL Week 10 today. And there's a lot to process and a lot that happened. We're going to have a guest next week. And yeah, let's talk about it. The first one we're going to talk about is the wild. We never start like this. But we got to talk about the wild Monday night game. Commanders-Eagles. Now, I have to say, I called the upset. Now, I was rooting against the Eagles this whole year, blah, blah, blah. They didn't lose to the Commanders. They got killed. They got killed in the rushing and passing. And the Commanders' defense held them. I've been saying Eagles are overrated. No matter what anybody says, Eagles are way overrated. They are one and done. They are one and done. I don't care what anybody says. You can fight me, argue all you want. Eagles one and done. Now that they got killed 32-21. That's by a whole 11 points. That's 2 possessions. That's 2 touchdowns. Eagles, I think they're gonna have a downfall after this because they realize that they shouldn't have lost the Commanders. It's that simple. But Taylor Heinicke is proving that when Carson Wentz is better, he wants this starting position. I don't care. Taylor Heinicke deserves this starting position. I don't care what anybody says. He deserves this. He is doing something that hasn't been done for Commanders in a while. They're winning games. And they're winning by a lot when they win games. That's the thing. They're not winning by a field goal, 2 points, 1 point. They're winning by a hefty amount. They just beat the best team in the league right now with the most winning record. Undefeated by a whole 11 points. That's insane. That's insaneness. So now we're going to go to the Thursday night game. Falcons-Panthers. There's not really much to say about this, you know. Marcus Mariota, he did his Mariota things. He's proving that he's done in the NFL. I mean, I can't really say that, though, because he did have 19 for 30, 180 yards with 2 touchdowns, but he had 1 interception that was almost a pick six. So, I mean, and he's getting a lot of rushing yards in, and he's still proven he can compete with the best, but they're 4-6. Is it a owner's problem? Is it an organization problem? Who knows? Now the Panthers. Was it a blessing in disguise that CMC got traded? I think yes, and here's why. Now, I love Christian McCaffrey, but he wasn't working with the Panthers. PJ Walker, he's just doing backup quarterback things. He's not really throwing. 10 for 16 for 108 yards. That's not that good. That's about 10 yards per completion. Yeah, that's good, but he only threw 10 passes. He threw 16 passes and completed 10. I got NFL Network in the background. They're talking about the same exact thing. But their running back, the one that replaced CMC, Dante Foreman, 31 carries, 130 yards. Y'all get that? That's an average of 4.2 yards per carry. That is amazing for a running back. And he had 1 touchdown. And let's talk about, I'm going to butcher this name, Laviska Shenault. 2 carries, 42 yards, 21 average. That was really good. He's not a running back. He's a wide receiver. So, Panthers, are they back? No, they're 3-7. So, I mean, when Mayfield is better. Should they start Mayfield over Walker? Because PJ just showed that he is a backup quarterback, and that's it. So, I don't know. Seahawks-Bucks. Now, I had Seahawks winning this. I had faith in Old Man Geno. Good job, Tom Brady. Tom Brady's undefeated overseas. Really nothing I can say about this game. It was a good game up to the very end. The Bucks just pulled it out, you know. Seahawks put on a last-minute drive. But it was a good game. Geno Smith, again, amazing numbers. Comeback player of the year and possibly MVP if he can make playoffs. 23 for 33, 275 yards. Now get this. You gotta remember, this man was a backup for years for teams and hasn't started in years. This man's made the Seahawks 6-4. He's made the Seahawks competitive again. Let's be honest. Old man Russ, he was out of his prime years ago. Now the Bucks, Tom Brady, 22 for 29, 258 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's doing Brady things. But he had 1 crucial interception. So, I mean, the Bucks mostly rushed. Rachaad White had 22 carries for 105 yards. And Leonard Fournette had 14 carries for 57 yards. Like, they're just doing Buck things with Brady, you know? Now, Geno Smith, I still think he should be in talks for comeback player of the year because this man is a legend. Lions and the Bears. Man, I tell you. I try to root for the Bears. I try to root for Justin Fields just because I love Justin Fields in college. But come on, to the Lions? You lost to the 2-6 Lions. Yeah, the Bears have the same record, but they're 3-7. You let Jared Goff, one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, go 19 for 26, 236 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. That's just, there's nothing to say about that. Fields is doing Field things. 12 for 20, 167 yards, 2 touchdowns. Now, the thing about that is, Fields, he needs an O-line. If he had an O-line, Justin Fields would be in MVP race. And he had 13 carries for 147 rushing yards. He literally, him and Lamar are in competition for the next Michael Vick. I'm telling you. If Fields had a better O-line, I am telling you, he would be top 3 quarterback. No matter what anybody says, top 3 quarterback. And that's just impeccable to me. Because I feel bad that he's on the Bears because I love Justin Fields. I will always forever be a Justin Fields fan. I love what he stands for and everything. He needs a better team, in my opinion. And we see that because the Bears just let the Lions beat them by 1. How do you let that happen? Let's be honest. How do you let that happen? Come on. It's not all on Fields. We know who it's on, and I'm not going to say the word. Ownership. Oh, sorry, that kind of just came out, you know. Browns, Dolphins. I had the Dolphins in this. I'm so glad I did because they killed the Browns. 39-17, bro. Jacoby Brissett. He's showing lately that he doesn't want to be the starting quarterback. He has been so crap. 22 for 35, 212 yards, 1 touchdown. If you have 22 passes, you should definitely have more than 210 yards. Like, that's just insane to me. Tua Tagovailoa. MVP numbers, in my opinion. MVP. 25 for 32. And he only played 3 quarters. They took him out, or halfway through the 4th. 285 yards, 3 touchdowns. MVP numbers. Tua, I love you, man. Needs to be up there for top MVP right now because this man is doing things that hasn't been done by a Miami quarterback in ages. They even brought in Skylar Thompson for a play, and that just shows how bad the Browns defense is. He went 1 for 1 for 17 yards. A backup quarterback who has never played an NFL snap. That's insane. But that game was fun to watch. I will say that just because the Dolphins were running all over the Browns. Broncos, Titans. Old man Russell. Y'all know I say this every week. Just retire. Please. You were good before. You're just bad now. 21 for 42. Y'all understand he went 50%. That is horrible. That is me trying to do a Madden quarterback with a 60 overall and create it. He went 286 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 crucial interception that lost them the game. Broncos, I'm sorry. Y'all are idiots. Like I say every week. Y'all lost this trade with the Seahawks. There's just nothing to say. Russell Wilson, retire. It's that simple. Go be with Sierra. Go be with your kids. Retire, because you are no longer an NFL quarterback. The Titans. Ryan Tannehill's first game back. Feel bad because I do like Malik Willis, but he just didn't show that he's ready to be a starter. 19 for 36. Yeah, that's bad, but he had 255 yards and 2 touchdowns. He redeemed himself. And he threw the game-winning touchdown, so, I mean, it was a really good game. But old man Russell just retired because for your safety and for everybody else's safety, it's time for you to retire, bud, because you're not in your prime and you just haven't been in your prime in like 3, 4, 5 years at least. Vikings and Bills. I don't care what games happen from here on out. Game of the year. Game of the century. Maybe game of the NFL history. That game was so fun to watch. I actually enjoyed watching a team that I hate. The Bills, I hate them because I'm a Ravens fan. Kirk Cousins, 30 for 50, 360 yards. They went to overtime, so take that into account. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Kirk Cousins, okay. But even though he had 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown, which is always a bad thing because you don't want interceptions overcoming touchdowns. He's taking his team to 8-1 right now. But this game solely laid on the receivers, especially Justin Jefferson's. 10 receptions, 193 yards. Bills have one of the best defenses in the league. They could not defend Jefferson at all. They were scared of that man. 10 receptions, 193 yards. Y'all understand this, right? That's a first down every catch. Average, that's more than a first down. That's 10.3 per catch with 1 touchdown. Like, put that in y'all's heads. Justin Jefferson, if a non-quarterback wins MVP, he deserves to be up there. That man is throwing up numbers. Let's see. Past 5 games, man has over 900 or 800 yards. That is impeccable for a wide receiver. Now the Bills, Josh Allen. What are we going to do with you, man? 29 for 43, 330 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 1 fumble. Josh Allen. I understand he's one of the best quarterbacks. I understand this. But he's got to learn to hold the ball and not throw it away. Because throwing it away for him, he leads the NFL right now in interceptions, which is horrible. Because the Bills are a great team. They're 6-3. That was a fun game to watch. Josh Allen fumbled it on the very last play of the game. So, I mean, to make it to overtime, so the Vikings got a touchdown. Josh Allen, I love the man. He just needs to learn to hold the ball, and he needs to learn to not throw it away like how he's been doing as he sees it's bad. But I don't care what anybody says. That was the game of the year to watch. The final play with the fumble and the touchdown was absolutely insane, in my opinion. Because the Vikings whiffed it on 4th down with the QB sneak trying to get into the end zone on the half-yard line. And then the Bills fumbled it because they should have just taken the safety. They would have taken the safety. They could have possibly won it. But then a field goal would have won it for the Vikings. It was a whole ordeal. Now the Texans, Giants. I had the Texans upsetting the Giants. I had all NFC teams losing this week except the Cowboys. And, of course, the Cowboys lost too. But Texans, Giants. Texans, what are y'all doing? Y'all have a great backup quarterback. I don't understand why you still have Davis Mills in there. He's okay. He went 22 for 37, 319 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But the interception was a pick 6. You have a good, decent backup who's willing to play. Try him out. You're losing games. You're 1-7-1. Try him out, Texans. I don't care what you say. You need to try out your backups. Davis Mills is showing he's not an NFL starting quarterback. He's had 1.5 seasons to prove himself. He just has not done that yet. I'm sorry, but he hasn't. Now the Giants. DJ, 13-17. DJ Daniel Jones. 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. Giants. I hate to say it. They might overtake Eagles. The NFC East is a whole division because they might overtake them. Like, it might be a tied, three-way tie, because the Commanders are going to be last, obviously. But it might be a three-way tie in that division. It's up in the air. But if Saquon Barkley keeps doing what he's doing, he could possibly be MVP running. And I didn't mention him before, but he's really good. Jaguars, Chiefs. Trevor Lawrence. I'm glad you took that L. I can't stand Trevor Lawrence. I think he's too cocky. Just always has been. And the thing about it is, I want him to succeed. If he wasn't on the Jaguars, I think he'd be a top 5 quarterback, in my opinion. He went 29 for 40, 259 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interception. And get this, he hasn't thrown an interception in a lot of passes. I don't know the exact number. But the Chiefs, Patty Mahomes, let's talk about him. 26 for 35, 331 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's just doing Patty Mahomes things. He's doing Super Bowl Patty Mahomes things. He wants another Super Bowl. Is he going to get it? I don't know. Because the Chiefs are currently 7-2, and they hold the number 1 seed over the Bills. And the Jaguars are 3-7. Now, Patty Mahomes, I think if he keeps doing what he's doing, honestly, he's going to get hurt. He's taking way too many risky plays. Like in this game, he took a big hit by the Jaguars defensive end. He tried throwing it sidearm, and his arm got caught into the defender's, pouch leg area. Excuse me. And that was risky because he needs to stop with all these no-look side passes. It's going to cost him soon. But he's doing Patty Mahomes things, even without wide receivers that aren't that good. All he has is Travis Kelce and Scantling because Juju Smith hasn't really been doing anything since he got traded to him from the Steelers. So, I don't know. It's an up-in-the-air situation. It's just an interesting thing, you know? Now, the Saints and Steelers. I had the Saints because, if y'all don't know, I'm a massive fan of Andy Dalton. I love Andy Dalton, forever will. Even when he was a Cincinnati Bengal, I love that man. I think what he stands for with breast cancer and everything is amazing. Andy Dalton, is it time for him to retire? Yes. Retire while you still can. I know you want a ring, but retire before your career gets tainted. You had a god-amazing career with the Cincinnati Bengals. You need to retire. You went 17 for 27, 174 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interception. That's horrible. And Kamara carried that game, in my opinion. But the Steelers, like I said, I've always said this. If Kenny Pickett picks up, Steelers are going to be dangerous. But I think they need to sit Pickett because he's just not doing well right now. He needs to have more learning time. You need to start Trubisky for a little bit longer. Your season's over. We all know that. You're 3-6 Steelers. Your season's over. Start Trubisky. Let Pickett learn. But at the same time, maybe start Trubisky at half, then start Pickett. Because those two quarterbacks can learn from each other. And Pickett can learn from Trubisky. Pickett can learn let me watch him this half. I'll try to replicate what he does, blah, 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 things like that. Steelers, you won, no, but let's be honest, your season's over. Your season's over, Steelers. And I think if Trubisky started, I think he could give them some winning games, some tough games. But Steelers, if they want a high draft pick, they're going to throw it. Colts and Raiders. Old man Matt Ryan shows that he wants to start. Joe Saturday's first game. Yeah, it's against the Raiders, okay? But still, first game in the NFL coaching career. Never coached a college game. Never coached a high school game. Never coached a NFL game. Never coached in general. Got a dub in his first coaching game. 25-20. Yeah, it's against the Raiders, but it's against the Raiders who have an amazing team, in my opinion. Have one of the best receiving cores and have some of the best defensive players. Matt Ryan, 21 for 28. That's 7 incompletions. That probably weren't even his fault. 222 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Joe Saturday, you made the right call. Matt Ryan is showing that he wants to be there. They're 4-5-1, and that division's up in the air. That division, who knows who can win it because it's up in the air right now. But the Colts 4-5-1. Hey, if they go on a winning streak right now, they could possibly make playoffs. I hate to say it, but they could possibly do it. And I love Matt Ryan. I want to see him succeed. Now the Raiders. Derek Carr, 24 for 38, 248 yards, 2 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs carried this game. 79 yards carrying. Yep. The Raiders just need to reevaluate their whole organization because they thought moving from Oakland to Las Vegas would change their winning ways or their losing ways. It did not. 2 seasons in, and it did not. They're still horrible. Maybe they said they don't want to pursue a quarterback. They said that in a press conference. They need to pursue a quarterback in this draft. It's a quarterback-heavy draft. Derek Carr is not a starting quarterback. I've been saying that since they chose him as their starter. He is not a starting quarterback. He does backup numbers, backup things. He is not a starting quarterback. And I think they need to pursue a quarterback in this NFL, especially since they have a lot of draft picks coming up. Because if they don't, they're gonna screw themselves. Super Bowl defending champs, Los Angeles Rams. This possibly has to be one of the worst years after Super Bowl. Someone let me know the numbers because this is bad. They both had, the Cardinals and Rams both had backup quarterbacks. Colt McCoy for the Cardinals. I was watching NFL Network. Colt McCoy has better numbers in his starts than Kyler Murray does. So in his one start this year, he got the dub. Cardinals are 4-6. Colt McCoy, backup quarterback, very old man. 26 for 37, 240 yards, 1 touchdown. That is Kyler Murray numbers. Yeah, he doesn't rush like Kyler Murray. That's the only thing Kyler Murray does is rush. He really doesn't have an arm, as we've seen. Which sucks because Arizona has a really good receiving core. What do y'all think? I'm conflicted on this. Keep Kyler Murray. I mean, you're paying Kyler Murray all this money to keep him on the bench, but he's hurt right now. As we know, he's very injury prone. I don't know. I'm going to stay out of that one. I think Colt McCoy should be a starter. I'm just saying. Now, the LA Rams had John Wolford starting. No one knows who that is. And he did. We're not even going to talk about this because it's just an unknown guy playing for a Super Bowl winning team. 24 for 36, 200 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. That's just backup numbers, you know? Now, will he be the same when he comes back? When their quarterback comes back? Who knows? But Cardinals, if Colt McCoy starts next week and he wins by a lot, they're going to have a tough situation on their hand. You never know. Cowboys-Packers. This game stressed me the hell out. It's the Cowboys. It's Mike McCarthy's first game back in Green Bay since becoming a Cowboys coach. Cowboys are 6-3. Like I said, the NFC East up in the air. Dak Prescott. This situation is getting on my nerves because Cooper Rush would not have thrown 3 interceptions. I mean, he probably would have, but not as bad as Dak did that day. Dak went 37 or 27 for 46. That is horrible. 265 yards. That is horrible, Dak. 3 touchdowns. That's good, but they were cheap touchdowns. 2 to CeeDee Lamb and 1 to Dalton Schultz. And that's it. Now, the thing is, Dak, you cannot be making that many incompletions. 3 interceptions and 1 fumble rushing? That is horrible. You're going to lose games doing that, Dak. And I think because this is second game loss. Cowboys, think about this. Had 1 loss with Cooper Rush. 1. That was against the Eagles. 1 loss. So, is Dak's playing 2 teams and loses? I don't know, y'all. Should they bring him back in? Should they let Dak sit out? I don't know. Also, Mike McCarthy, you suck. Should have kicked that field goal in overtime. I would have rather a tie than a loss. Packers, Aaron Rodgers. Doing Aaron Rodgers things. 14 for 20, 224 yards, 3 touchdowns. His receivers actually showed out this game. Let's talk about their rookie, Christian Watson. That man caught all 3 touchdowns. Without him, they would have lost this game. 4 receptions, 107 yards, 3 touchdowns. And they were all wide open. That man, Christian Watson, rookie of the year, 100%. If he keeps... I mean, it's iffy because if he keeps doing what he's doing, he can be top 10 rookie of the year. I listened to Skip and Bale's Undisputed. Even they said the same thing. It's crazy what this man is doing. He's stepping up because Aaron Rodgers got into his head and said, hey, I need my receiver core to step up because they're all young. Chargers, 49ers. Like, Justin Herbert. Hopefully if I say it more, he gets better, you know. 21 for 35, 190 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. As a starting quarterback, that's not numbers you want to see. Justin Herbert is a great guy, and I feel like he's a great quarterback, and there's no excuses for this man because, and I try to make excuses for quarterbacks. There's none for this man just because he has a great defense. He has a great offense. And the Chargers are 5-4. They should not be 5-4. They have one of the best running backs, Austin Eckler, and some of the best receivers in DeAndre Carter. And Austin Eckler is also a really good catcher. And their defense, Derwin James, Michael Davis, Khalil Mack, they should not be losing games like this and by this much. Now the 49ers balled out. Jimmy G showing that he wants a starting position week on week. He wasn't even supposed to see a ball this year. Jimmy G, 19 for 28. It's 9 incompletions. 240 yards and only 19 passes. Think about that. That is amazing. That's insane. It's about 10 yards per... That's like 15 yards per pass almost. Elijah Mitchell got more carries than Christian McCaffrey. Is there a running back situation in San Francisco right now? Because you just spent all this money on McCaffrey. You traded high picks, things like that. And McCaffrey, I love the man. He didn't really ball out. Went 14 carries, 38 yards with the average of 2 yards. That's not good. Especially with a guy, your high caliber, guy with your high injury rate. So, of course, they're going to throw Elijah Mitchell in there, who went 18 carries, 90 yards with an average of 5 yards. That, Christian McCaffrey, I was rooting for you, man, for comeback player of the year, but I don't know. You got to keep it up, bro. You had one good year this year, one game with the 49ers that was good. But, like I said, 49ers have one of the best receiving cores there is. Brandon Ayuk, Juwan Jennings, Christian McCaffrey, Ray McLeod, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, and Elijah Mitchell. One of the best receiving cores, I think, in the NFL. And the 49ers are tied with the Chargers at 5-4. They should be more than 5-4. But, you know, the first game or two with Trey Lance just did not help them. Now, the NFL, that was all the games. Now, let's talk about other things. The Ravens, we got to do something because, yeah, our games have been really good, but we should not have the record that we have right now. We should not be 6-3. We honestly should be undefeated. The Roquan Smith was probably one of the best pickups in recent years. But the Ravens, I don't know, because Lamar Jackson's always up in the air, whether he has a good game or a bad game. And if he keeps having these good games people say, he could possibly be MVP this year. So who knows? Now, how do I feel about the trade deadline being pushed back 2 weeks next year? It's in the talks. And personally, I think you should be able to do trades until at least week 14. Because week 14 is when the playoffs really starts to hit. Really start, like, yeah, we're securing a position for the playoffs. Let's keep the playoffs good, you know? And I think with the playoffs being like that, I think the trade deadline should be week 14. I'm going to say it. They're wanting to push it back. But let's talk about the Eagles again, because people are like, oh yeah, everybody's running their butt. They're going to have a undefeated season, things like that. I said, no, they're not. And they play, who do they play? Who do they play next? Let's see. I think they're going into bye, aren't they? Yeah, they're in a bye, I think. Oh no, they're playing the Colts. Okay. They already had a bye. They're going to I'm calling it right now. Eagles lose to the Colts. I don't care what anybody says. They're losing to the Colts. I think they're going to lose to the Colts because they just are going to go downhill. And then the Ravens play the Panthers. Easy dub. Maybe they'll start Baker Mayfield. Who knows? But I think, honestly, Eagles go downhill. And I think they lose 4 or 5 straight. I see it coming. Because they lost to the Commanders. Really bad. And almost lost to the Texans. Now get this. The Eagles have the easiest schedule this season. And here on out, they only play one winning team with a winning record. That is sad and despicable. I think they're going to do bad in here on out. But let's end it there. And give me y'all's thoughts on this. I'm still recovering, so it wasn't the best. But definitely thanks to Tiki's in Maryland for sponsoring us. Go to tikis.com. And thank y'all for coming and watching and supporting. I'm definitely hoping I feel way better next week. That way I can get way more enthusiastic into it. So thank you so much for coming, y'all.